loss. You have an incredible ability to backtrack in real time. You should be a lawyer. What? I didn't backtrack on a single position. It is bullshit to say small businesses are going to go out of a job. Why don't we care about that? Every new form of legislation always has winners and losers. You understand that, right? And what good government and good policy is supposed to do is mitigate the damages, done to the losers of that policy if they deserve, if they will have a drastic economic impact, and if they genuinely deserve or need that sort of aid. And the price adjustment built into the $15 minimum wage is one way to do that. And not only that, but there's also going to be state-by-state control measures that probably other senators are going to push for regardless. Yeah. Read this for the chat. I work with small business. As far as I can tell, it's like, I mean, dude, that's your own personal fucking anecdotal evidence. But yes, a lot of small businesses are just like single, like sole worker boss small businesses anyway. Hey, can you talk about our own left attacking Jewish people too because they see Jewish people as violent colonizers? As a Jewish person, I want to hear your take. What? It's such a weird question. Do you mean Israel? Like, what are you talking about? Like, violent colonizers in the form of Israel is one thing, but like Jewish people being violent colonizers is a psychotic fucking take. It seems like it's a bait or something. If you're talking about Israel, then Israel's actions against Palestinians is very similar to what colonizers have done historically to indigenous populations. But if you're talking about like Israel's political stance as a far right Jewish theocratic ethno state, maybe not a theocracy fully, but if you're talking about that, then yeah, I do agree that that is what's going on, and it's super reactionary. But tying that to Jews all around the world is, I think, unironically anti-Semitic. Because it's not like fucking every single Jewish person is like, oh, I love Israel across the board, no matter what. It reminds me weirdly of people who hold up Muslims as a monolith, like monolithically violent. Palestinian indigenous people? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. What do you want me to say? Like, people that live there. The fuck? I feel like this movement is literally a super capitalism meme. Anyway, so the increase of $15 minimum wage is a long battle that has been fought for a very long time, and I think that I'm glad that we're coming to a close on that. I don't know if this is real or not. Robinhood is now limiting people to only buy one share of GameStop stock. Oh, the free market at work. I mean, this is from Jewish people have been, what? Everybody focusing on Robinhood, but every broker is doing this at the moment. Robinhood is limiting the amount. Okay. It's really fucking stupid that they're doing that. I don't know, man. Okay, look. Yeah, Robinhood agreed to pay $65 million fine for deceiving clients back in December last year. And the reason for why they had to do that is because they did not disclose the receipt of payments from trading firms for routing customer orders to them, and with failing to satisfy its duty to seek the best reasonably available terms to execute customer orders. And that literally goes back to the Citadel thing that we talked about before. Citadel front-running trades and also getting fined for doing exactly that and holding off on trades that they were supposed to be front-running or holding off on trades for an unreasonable amount, adjusting their position, knowing what the fucking trades that they're about to run look like, and making money as a consequence of that. A level of that is unfortunately built into the law that is legal in the form of high-frequency trading. Like, you can have like algorithmic trading recognize where certain positions are going and literally do it in a fraction of a fucking second. But you can't do it if you personally hold off on other people's trades. You can't do it when you personally hold off on other people's trades, get a better position for yourself, and like literally hold it off by like 10 minutes and then facilitate trades. So they were already making money off the legal side of it, but they were like, we are going to extend it as much as we can. And that's kind of what Robinhood did as well. The SEC said that Robinhood benefited from completing trades at prices that were less than optimal for its clients. In aggregate, those fees deprived customers of $31 million, even after taking into account the savings from the commission-free trades. Now, this is before the Robinhood saga that we are under currently. And of course, those fines get offset by their profits, so it doesn't really matter. It's like built into it. This was from they've done this before. So did Citadel. Like, these guys have been doing exactly this for a long time. It's just that there hasn't been this level of attention on applications that help retail traders like this, or applications that what would they be called? Like retail apps or something? Is that what it would be considered? I don't know what the proper terminology to describe it would be. I guess. Do you believe leftists partaking in the GME AMC squeeze can describe themselves as left accelerationists? What? Leftists partaking in the GME AMC squeeze? Guys, this is just like, this has nothing to do with fucking communism or socialism, okay? Like, there is no, I'm sorry. Like, what is going on here is not fucking praxis. What is going on here is not like a left-wing revolution. Don't be ridiculous. You can use this as an opportunity to describe to a lot of people who are otherwise like petite bourgeoisie, or those workers who have completely fucking believed in the capitalist dogma, to maybe move away from that rigid worldview that they have. But beyond that, if you think that this is like, a leftist insurrection, or if it's praxis or some shit like that, no, it's not. This is not a left-wing or a right-wing movement. This is people that are, yes, certainly sticking it to some hedge funds, okay, for the time being. But it's still those who want to become capital owners utilizing the stock market to their advantage. But if you think that this is also like a right-wing nationalist movement, then you're a fucking delusional idiot too. Yes, of course there are Nazis and shit that are involved in it, but that doesn't mean that every single person doing this are fucking Nazis. Half of you guys are in on it. Like, are you a Nazi now? No. So shut the fuck up. There is not really anything I can compare this to. It's just a capitalist uprising against other capitalists that determine the rules. You know what I mean? Anyway, we're going to continue on with some of these Jim Cramer / like GameStop videos. But before I do that, it's the first hour ad break of the day. The contractual obligation is top of the hour every hour. It's time for a 60-second ad break. If you no longer want to see the ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Here, I ran the ad already. I've been trading for a few years, and I think people do not understand that today is not going to be the big squeeze. This can continue for a couple weeks as the hedgies continue to short these stock. Well, it depends on what happens today. It is a game of attrition, okay? That's what I've been saying from the jump, which is who will be able to hold out for longer. If hedgies can actually push for, if hedge funds can actually push for panic selling, and start to destroy the confidence that retail investors need to have to hold on to their stock no matter what kind of dips occur. And they have infinite money. Like, you know how people, including myself, have made jokes about how this is the infinite money glitch? Like, they literally do have infinite money. They can hold and assume a loss for a very long time. As you saw, it was like nothing for them to add 2.75 billion onto that portfolio. Like they literally were like, oh yeah, we're losing money. We're going to lose 14 billion. Here's another 2.75. They have to actively pay for their position? Yes. But they have the fucking backing, and they can do that. If it was nothing, they wouldn't manipulate the market. Oh no, this is a gigantic fuck up. So of course they want to stop it as quickly as possible. They want to stop the hemorrhaging, because it doesn't matter. Just because they have infinite money doesn't mean that they're consistently, again, this is a battle of attrition. That doesn't mean that they're consistently going to keep leading the loss over and over again and eating it, and then constantly buying back where the stock price readjusts and goes up again just to short it, just to maintain their short position over a long enough timeline. It's still not fun for them to do so. It's embarrassing. It's horrible. And collectively, shorters have lost $70 billion in the past 28 days. Most of it from fucking today or from the past week or so. So it's not great for a lot of hedge funds, regardless. Anyway, there's a pretty good chance the funds reverse positions or are neutral by now. It's just a pump now. I don't think so. GME story is somewhat blown out of proportion. No, the larger implications of the GME story is that retail investors actually do have momentum and can pump a fucking stock price if they recognize that, like, a hedge fund is behaving, or if they recognize a single entity is behaving in a way that is irregular. They can literally isolate a stock and pump it up in this way, and because it's profitable, other people will get on board with it as well. And that is a unique thing, and that is a scary thing. And regardless, though, there's no way that they can. The Jimmy story is still not overblown. It's still a very interesting story for the future of the stock market. It's unfortunately not all that significant for labor, which we've completely given up on at this point.
Nobody wants to do anything that's commonsensical here. And you've got these two sides duking it out, and it's just a tragedy that's going on like this. And I don't care whether, I'm not saying Reddit's good or bad. I'm not saying the shorts are good or bad. I'm just saying that the government has to step in and at least try to address the situation so that the rest of the market isn't panicked by 4 stocks that are heavily shorted.
Shepard.
Oh, the fucking Barstool guy. You know who's also benefiting from this? Motherfucking Dave Portnoy, okay? And I really, look, I think he's a funny dude. I love watching the way Dave Portnoy operates, okay? It's hilarious to me. But I also low-key despise him a little bit, but he is really fucking clouded the fuck up lately as a consequence of all this. And while he himself is like a total fucking egomaniacal douchebag and operates would operate probably in an exact same way that these billionaire hedge fund managers are operating in, he has been able to align himself as the populist leader of this movement, which goes to show, like, this movement is not like a worker movement, okay?
On the GameStop share.
It has been funny, though, because of how much, like, the average Joe supposedly loves Dave Portnoy. Like, all these fucking hedge fund managers are like genuinely upset that he's calling them fucking crooks and liars and actually crying on Twitter because he's like agitating the hogs, the Barstool hogs, some of which are here. I used to be a Barstool hog myself. He has a nice little local business fund. That's great. But again, the guy who wins in that circumstance is, again, Dave Portnoy.
And where they're trading, it comes as Robinhood resumes trading in the stock, as you can see, up some 86%. Overnight, the trading app raised $1 billion from existing investors. And talking to Chris Cuomo last night, the app CEO ruled out interference by market makers when they decided to restrict trading in these stocks.
I know that there's rumors around that, we were directed by market makers or other market participants to do this. And I want to be 100% clear. This decision was not made on the direction of any market maker or other market participant.
Listening to that with us, Dave Portnoy, the founder of Barstool Sports. To say he's been vocal opponent of Robinhood's actions is an understatement, but we like those. Dave, great to have you back with us. What angered you most about what happened yesterday?
Well, I mean, they basically, the name of the company is Robinhood, steal from the rich, give to the poor, and they did the exact opposite. They stole from the poor and gave back to the rich. I unequivocally don't believe what he just said, Vlad. I think he's lying about that. There's just no rational explanation on why they would do what they did without outside pressure, interference. They had to know what they did was against all their clients. Their clients were the ones who were making money, and they basically cratered the stock on purpose. So I just don't believe anything that guy says. I wanted to take a cold shower after seeing him say that.
The Robinhood CEO is not here to defend himself, and he has an open invite and long has to come on this show to defend himself and talk about what happened. What if the share price had been falling, though, Dave, and people would have been losing money? Would you have been as angry?
Well, I mean, that's the risk that traders do. And the stock market itself has triggers when there's unusual activity. It halts trading. But the people who invest in this stock weren't doing it with their eyes shut. They know there's risk. And I've asked this a lot. How many times when the hedge funds are making millions of dollars, billions of dollars, there's an article that I saw, Citadel make $6.7 billion on volatility of the stock market. How often do they stop it and say, hold on? No, it never happens that way. This is the first time I can ever remember where you could only sell a stock, you couldn't buy it. If they were that concerned, they should have froze it, and you can't sell or buy. And if people want to liquidate at the price they had the stock, that's fair. But to crater it, and again, in the history of the stock market, don't ever hear the rich guys, the institutional firms, the hedge funds saying, hold on, we're making too much money. You better protect us in case it goes the other way. This seemed like it was just the little guy was winning and the rules changed on the fly.
Yeah, it seemed like panic. I think to everybody it seemed like panic. They've clearly had to raise a lot of money as well to shore up their own position. They're like a young company, though, as well, and they've had this swarm of new investors coming onto the platform. I guess you could make the argument that they have to make sure that people have the money in their accounts to be able to buy these stocks. But, Dave, I think you raise a good point. This stock's up 1,000% year to date. Action should have been taken surely earlier and should have been communicated better.
Yeah, and I saw his interview on CNBC, Vlad, and this is a direct quote from him. He said it was not a liquidity issue, and he said it was to protect the people on Robinhood. That's garbage. How did that protect the people on Robinhood? I'd like to find one person on Robinhood who feels that they were protected. They literally intentionally cratered the stock, unless they're the dumbest people alive. If you only let people sell and you can't buy, pretty obvious what's going to happen to the stock, and that's exactly what it did. It cratered it.
And then they relaxed the rules. Again, Robinhood not here to defend themselves over what they were doing, whether it was to shore up their own position.
Kind of weird that like Dave fucking Portnoy is the reasonable and correct person in this argument. Like that's really, I mean, he's clout chasing, yeah, but he's, I do believe he's like legitimately upset about it. And he's kind of right. Dave is a good dude. Did you see your Anon news tweet? No, stop.
Position the artificially created selling pressure, because that's clearly what we saw in the market. I think to your point, you know, Dave, the access to these platforms is free, and part of the way they do that, the business model, is they get all these orders from people and they give them to a bigger company. This case, one of them is Citadel Securities, and you've mentioned the name, so I'm bringing it up, and they get paid for that. And that's also, I think, what's created this sort of stinky sense that perhaps information on their positions was being shared with one of these hedge funds, quite frankly, but that hedge fund says it's not. Either you get democratization of finance and you get free access, or perhaps you need to pay for it and you don't have those concerning relationships going on. What's the answer? Do you get charged for using this platform, or should it remain free?
I have no problem with it remaining free. If you can't change the rules midstream is my bigger thing. And I did bring up Citadel, but it's well known that Citadel and gave money to Melvin, who shorted GameStop, and then you have Citadel, who's involved with Robinhood, and there's a lot of very interesting things. But essentially, it appears, from my point of view, that by cratering these stocks, they allowed these hedge funds to get out of their shorts. So that's what it looks like happened. And you know,
but did they though? The thing I don't understand about this is like, they have far too many positions. Like, it's impossible for them to fucking get out. I don't think they pulled out. They tried to mitigate. They tried to mitigate some of the fucking damage, certainly. But that's it. It's some. It's still a fucking... It's still a yard sale out there. Or is that the proper term? A fire sale? Is that... They were able to buy back at lower price and cut how bad it would have been for them? The Reddit post with supposedly someone working at fucking Robinhood is so dumb. Please stop. Like... Dude, yeah, dude, my uncle works at Nintendo. My uncle is Mr. Nintendo, okay? He told me. My uncle is literally Robin. Like, his name is Robin, and Robin Hood is named after him. And he told me that, like, you know, Robin Hood was doing this on purpose because they're working with Citadel.
These people can go in front and say things that if you are logically thinking about what they're saying, Vlad and others, they don't make sense. They just don't. It seems like we're being fed lines, and I just don't believe it.
Dave, do you think the system's rigged?
Yes, 100%. There's not a doubt in my mind that I think the system's rigged. Wall Street, I think if you ask most Americans, they'd say, yeah, it's a dirty game. I said this yesterday. Julie, it takes a lot for AOC and Donald Trump Jr. to be on the same side of an issue. But they were yesterday. We haven't been able to agree on anything. And suddenly everybody's like, wait a minute, this stinks.
we had to make a very difficult decision to protect our customers and our firm.
Why?
But we in no way.
Why? Explain why you had to do it if it wasn't to protect the guys who had shorted the stocks, which are the big hedge funds. How are you helping the little guy investors?
Well, I know that there's rumors around that, we were directed by market makers or other market participants to do this. And I want to be 100% clear. This decision was not made on the direction of any market maker or other market participants.
So why'd you do it?
Decision. Robinhood, as a brokerage, has lots of financial requirements, SEC requirements. We have to put up money at clearinghouses. The amount of money that we have to put up depends on market volatility, and we're in a historic situation where there's a lot of activity and a lot of buying concentrated in a relatively small number of symbols that are going viral on social media. So we haven't really seen anything like this before, and to prudently manage the risk and the deposit requirements, we had to restrict buying in these 13 stocks, but customers that held them could sell throughout. Thousands of other securities and stocks on our platform were available to freely trade. And our number one priority, as you mentioned, is to make sure.
Okay, we heard this a million times. It's fucking bullshit. It doesn't matter. Cuomo actually ripped him a new one quite well. Oh, I guess the rest of it is just like the interview. All right, I'm skipping this. Like, we know what he said. I don't like Tucker Carlson, and I don't like fucking Portnoy. I'm probably gonna skip this one. I don't want to fucking watch Tucker Carlson and Dave Portnoy talk about how fucking populist and how on the side of the working class they are. Okay, he's just reading the same exact script he did on all the other shows. Yeah, exactly. I'm skipping this one. I don't want to watch this shit. But what I do want to watch is fucking 21 minutes of them jerking each other off. But I do want to watch the big brain geniuses of Joseph Robinette Rogan and what's the other dude?
Experience.
This I will fucking watch, okay?
Anyone defending institutional Wall Street right now got an envelope with photos of themselves at Jeffrey Epstein's birthday. So what Jamie's just pulled up with that and what Tim was talking about is this insane situation that's happening. It started out with GameStop with these intelligent vipers from Reddit decided they were going to figure out, here's the thing. Wall Street speculation and these people that have been these hedge fund guys, they've been manipulating the stock market in a very similar way forever.
Yeah.
But these guys on Reddit decided to get together collectively. And what is it called? The subreddit called Wall Street Bets. Yep. So Wall Street Bets decided that these hedge funds were shorting GameStop, right? So they decided we're going to buy GameStop. We're going to fuck their whole...
Okay, I'm skipping this part of him fucking describing it in the most ape way possible because I have already done that to you for the past couple days numerous times over and over again.
It shot up to $300 to $400 at some point yesterday,
which is
even
crazy.
Today, a little bit,
It's crazy. That's a crazy jump for no reason, and it was all because of these guys. So this is where it gets complicated because now regulars. Do me a favor and go to Sagar, his Instagram page, because he gave me permission to play this today because he just talks about how this is really exposing the actual corruption in the stock market and real market.
And that's why you got fucking homies like Jimmy Dore promoting this like Boogaloo boys are actually fucking good, by the way, rhetoric, despite the fact that these are like ANCAP LARPing dipshits, okay? Unless they change their point of view, in which case, like, yeah, no, I'm all on board, brother. If you're gonna be on my side on issues, then that's great. But But that's why a lot of these people are doing this. Like, oh, it's actually the populists that are fighting against the neoliberals, and we got to side with the populists, no matter who they are or what they are. You know what I mean? And that's because Joe Rogan is doing that. Populist malding. I mean, people say I'm a populist. I am kind of a left-wing populist. Okay, so I think that's still dumb as fuck to be like, oh yeah, like it's all populists and it's us populist against the establishment. It's like, no, it is populist against the establishment, but you also have to recognize that, like, there is a side of populism, which is, there is a side of fucking populism that is right-wing, I guess, of populism, which is, no, not good at all. It's just nationalism. And it's just fascism and nationalism, and that's not good at all. And the people that think that we can side with these people have not recognized that those people and their goals are drastically different. And if you don't actually talk to them and change their minds and describe to them that, like, a better future is possible, but not in the way that they envision it, it's worthless.
Manipulation, because they're trying to do something about the fact that these Wall Street guys are getting fucked over, and, like, hedge funds have lost billions of dollars because of this. And so, but the thing is that now that these guys, let's play it. Let's play it real quick.
This was the one you sent me yesterday, right?
No,
the newer one.
Yes, the one from today.
Oh, I didn't know they had a newer one.
Let me. I'll send
this one,
it.
Regulate and Reform.
Perhaps. Let's see.
All right, Sagar, what's on your radar?
Well, I have a confession to make. This is the first story that's exciting me.
So you don't consider populism a bad thing, or did I misunderstand? No, I don't consider populism to be categorically a bad thing. Okay? Like, especially at a time when technocratic neoliberalism has fucking eviscerated the global South, and it has ruined the American economy as well. No, I don't think that like that sort of I'm smarter than you, we need to do things in the smart pants way. It's actually free market solutions sold to you as incremental change for the better. Like, that shit is not, that shit is demonstrably a failure. Okay?
In a long time, covering the pandemic and Trump and Stop the Steal.
Don't
and
watch
Capitol
this,
riots
it's Sagar.
And the Biden
Okay.
presidency. It's been a real bummer. And I have not felt a pep in my step like this in many months. And it is now thanks to a bunch of Redditors going after the people I despise the most in our society, speculators on Wall Street. By now, I'm sure that you're all familiar with the story. Hedge funds and billionaires took out a massive short position on the company called GameStop. A band of Redditors on a subreddit called Wall Street Bets called their bluff, drove the stock up to the tune of thousands of percentile more to force those hedge funds to liquidate billions of dollars in losses, while the merry band of Redditors gets rich. It's the ultimate David and Goliath story. Underemployed and unemployed, sitting at home in their pajamas, using the power of the internet and new trading platforms like Robinhood to destroy the kings of American finance. We are never going to go back to the old ways of doing business, and Wall Street knows this. So what's their solution? It's one that we, my friends, must resist absolutely at all costs. Now they know that they do not have a monopoly on manipulating the market. They are going to do everything in their power to go after you and people like me who are not on the side of the billionaire elite. As I laid out yesterday, they are already going into overdrive on CNBC, who started off yesterday by inviting the literal CEO of the NASDAQ on to call for more regulation. Let's take a listen to that again.
One of the things that we're talking about is maybe misinformation and pump and dumps, and it's occurring on social media again. It just, I'm wondering whether it's part of the same problem, the type of regulation that we finally need to consider. And like I said, we should always have a light touch with regulation, but you're seeing the way things can get started. Again, this is different. Maybe it's Reddit, maybe it's not Facebook, but
it's just so fucking pathetic, dude. If your call for regulation comes the first fucking time that like poor people may have the opportunity to make a buck, then you're such a piece of shit. You're giving an opportunity for so many asshats to also come across as like right in this argument too.
But you're seeing the same situation.
He's
at this point, it's not about an
like
election. It's not about a
Well, he's also
an
pause for a
insurrection,
second. Pause for a second. He's also calling for regulation.
Yes.
They never call for regulation.
Never. He's super
assholes
flustered.
like him. The
Never.
last thing that guy wants,
Yeah.
in terms of like being able to manipulate the market and make as much money as possible, is
Yeah.
fucking regulation.
Yeah.
So him calling for regulation is kind of hilarious. And him saying that they're manipulating it with social media, like, this is literally what they do.
Yep.
It's what they do.
Yep.
Keep going.
His neck
There are
bothers
interesting
me.
things.
It is wild to see how many people are correct on this take, though. Like, it is wild to see how many people are actually right on the money with this. Even those who normally would be like anti-regulation, right, are saying the right things. And I wonder where this goes. Like, I do legitimately wonder. Like, I know where fucking Joe Rogan is on these sorts of matters, and he's always had like decent takes on poverty. That is like literally the most redeeming quality of Joe Rogan is that he himself comes from a poor background and understands what it takes, and that's why he's, whenever he talks about those sorts of issues, he's good at like shitting on even the likes of Ben Shabibo. But it's because finally it's a very obvious, plain and simple idea that pretty much everyone can see. Well, it's also a direct shitting on the capitalist American dream. Like, you told people for years that like this is how you can make money and this is the American dream. And for a lot of people, and it was bullshit to begin with, okay? That was always bullshit. But now they think like, okay, well, I'm doing the right things. I landed on like a lucky streak. And I am following the American dream in the most capitalist way I possibly could by fucking participating in the stock market. And now you're going to tell me, no, not like that? Well, fuck you. And that's part of the reason why people are so agitated against it. But my fear is that they won't learn anything from this at all, or they won't be able to look at the lessons that they're learning here and apply it to other aspects of their immediate lives, whether it be their relationship with their managers, whether the relationship with managers have with business owners, whether it's with pretty much like every other facet of their lives that is political, that they do not recognize as political. And I am a little less confident because the people that I see being uplifted to the top as like the spokesperson of this movement overall are people like fucking Dave Portnoy. And those people I don't think are going to actually turn around and be like, yeah, we need to have a workers' uprising. They fucking hate that. Dave Portnoy literally got owned by the Dave Portnoy got actually fucking owned by because he tweeted out that he was going to because he tweeted out that he fucking was going to union bust basically, and the NLRB like sued him or sent him a cease and desist. So he's not like the pro-worker populist guy, right? So I don't know where that goes. It's like Dave Portnoy, Tucker Carlson, Sauger, Joe Rogan. These guys are not. Some of them are sharks and purposely avoid the fundamentals despite knowing better. And some of them are oblivious, but well entrenched in their worldview that is already hyper-capitalist, right? I agree with your take, but someone pointed out the possibility everyone on Reddit coordinating could be considered collusion. Can you give the take? No, it's not collusion. It's fucking stupid. Joe Rogan and Dave Portnoy are justifying their anger by saying that these specific Wall Street folks are to blame, not Wall Street as a system. Yeah, and that is the problem, because I think a lot of people are not going to recognize that there is. I think a lot of people are not recognizing that like this has all been manipulation always, and like when the rich make the money, it's fine, but when you make the money, it's not fine, and that we need to completely reorganize or redesign this structure, and they're not going to. I don't know. I don't think that this is going to fundamentally change people's minds at all, right? Portnoy has money in AMC and NOK stocks himself, and he said he's Already lost $1 million. This is pure self-interest on his part to save his stocks from free fall, even though he might be right. Yeah. I don't know. I hope it works. Like, I hear the stock guy who normally, and no disrespect to him, but like the stock guy who normally says he doesn't like to talk about politics, preaching in front of AOC using very like left-leaning rhetoric. And I don't know if I should be excited about that because it's genuine, and it could be. And I'm literally not saying that it's not. I'm saying that it could be a genuine change of pace, right? Or it's something that he legitimately believed all along, because I'm not very familiar with what he says. But I see that and I get excited for a brief moment because I'm like, well, is this people changing? Is this like a genuine change in people's minds where they like are met with the reality, or are they still severely anti-regulation and they're just upset about the regulatory burden because in this instance it is attacking them? Thank you, Rick and Rhodes, for the 10 tier 1 gifted subs. PSG is very left-leaning. He just wants to not alienate right-wingers and keep politics out of it. It's a leftist view of a right-wing idea, the ultimate centrist? I don't know. It could be, but if it only applies to the stock market, then it's pretty useless. Anyway, he said he didn't like regulation on the AOC stream. What the fuck are you talking about? He said left-wing shit. He's a right-winger making money off this shit. Don't be fooled. I mean, he did say that he doesn't like regulation in the end of it. So I don't know. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I am unfamiliar and I do not know. But if it's genuine and if its attitudes have always been left-leaning or leftist, then that's great. I would be very surprised if the stock guy is like that, but this will all open people's eyes to crypto, but the Dogecoin shit is a pump and dump. People are going to lose a lot of money. Do not buy Doge for it to hit. Okay, shut up. I hate that. The crypto side of things, I literally do not want to talk about. Okay? Because regulation can only fuck the little guy. TSG espoused that it's always been rigged by hedgies. Seems to me the traditional leftist position would be increasing stock market regulation, but I don't see how this situation merits more regulation. No, the situation merits more regulation that stops hedge funds from making these sorts of moves, not a regulation that only stops retail investors from making these sorts of moves. Do you understand? I think a lot of them are against cronyism. Some of them are realizing that just means capitalism. It is. It is. Cronyism is just capitalism. The stock guy's a libertarian conservative? No, really? He didn't sound like a libertarian conservative. Anyway, this is not just about the stock guy. This is what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of people like the stock guy. There are a lot of people that are currently watching this unfold that have a material stake in this that they can recognize. Do you understand? Because normally, hey guys, shut the fuck up about the tier 3 subs. I already said thank you for the 10 tier 3 subs. Okay, here, how about this motherfucker? 22 months, 1 week off for you. Okay, shut up. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. This is why I can't have the fucking stream open with the fucking chat on the side, dude. You literally can't shut the fuck up. I'm constantly reading it, dude. You know I'm constantly reading the fucking chat. You just can't fucking stop crying. For the people who are saying you've changed, I very clearly did not fucking change. I used to yell a lot more to my chat. Thank you once again for the 10 tier 3 gift subs, Rickon Rhodes. Okay? No, I didn't ban them. I just gave them a fucking week off to shut the fuck up. And if you cry about getting fucking unbanned now, which I'm not looking at the chat, I'm going to ban you further, okay? Jesus Christ, dude. The point I was trying to fucking make is that there are a lot of people that have there are a lot of people who are potentially changing their minds. Or they're not. I don't know. I legitimately do not know what this represents. If this is a genuine change for some people that recognize that the system is designed against them and what kind of actions they take further or how they can apply the lessons that they're learning from this because they, for the first time ever, have an immediate material stake in this, then it's a good thing. Okay? It's overall a good thing. Nuke the huggers, please. Nuke the huggers for 10 minutes. Please, I beg you. Nuke them as well. Fucking weirdos, dude. Like, oh my God. We need to fucking hug one another over the internet. It is like, it literally just like reeks of fucking so much parasocial relationship that it like makes me despise the fucking community. Okay? Like, you literally are, you act in such a weird way, okay? I'm still a fucking entertainer, all right? Please stop. Stop. This is not like a real fucking a moment of an outburst and anger that like is genuinely supposed to impact your life. If it does, then you probably need to take some time off, okay? And I probably need to take some fucking time off because of how I react to it. But like, please stop doing that. It's so weird. It is so fucking weird, man. It is so weird. It's like we're in this abusive relationship and I'm abusing you with my words or something. And it's so fucking cringe. And it just really, really weirds me out. Okay? Please. And for the people that don't understand what I'm talking about, every time I fucking play like video games or whatever, and I'm not constantly looking at the chat and reacting, they start acting out in this weird ass way where they're like, oh, hug one another. He's not looking at us, chat. He's not talking to us, chat. And it's really fucking weird. It is really, 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 really weird, man. It bothers me because it's like, it just like reeks of parasocial relationship to a way that is like legitimately very openly unhealthy. Okay? Because like the singular moment where I'm not immediately fucking reacting to every single person or like reading the chat is a moment where they're like ignored, like they have a separation anxiety or something. And it's not good. Maybe it's been there this entire fucking time, or maybe it's because it's in my face now and I see it, and that's why I get so frustrated by it. I don't know. It's probably the latter though. Like, you are my best friend and you're ignoring me is like the kind of attitude that people have, and it's very frustrating. So the reason why I'm like actually pushing back against it is because you can't be so fucking codependent. Some of it is a joke, but I think some of it is not a fucking joke. Anyway.
Happening that seem to be spawned to some extent, or at least blown out of proportion by social media again, Adina.
Well, I do think, though, that as we look at these new technologies that are there available to everyone, including investors, I think it's also important for regulators to understand that, you know, manipulation is manipulation, whether it's happening through a new technology medium or it's happening through traditional mail.
She's the tightest skin
I think
I've
it's
ever
just
seen.
a matter of making sure that we understand what the behavior is, what's underpinning the behavior, and working appropriately with the regulators to manage the situation.
She looks like a female version of the blind scientist from Contact with Jodie Foster. Tell me she doesn't. Pull up an image of that guy. He's a
all these
famous
people
actor.
on this clip have issues. He has Richard Ramirez teeth. It's a nightmare.
Contact with Jodie Foster. Go to images. The guy in the far right. Yeah.
Oh, a little bit.
Come on, give me that picture.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Come on, right there.
Yeah.
Now go back to her.
No, they look pretty fucking similar. Yeah, good call, dog. Good reference. Almost identical.
That's so crazy.
It's the cheekbones and the mouth.
Are you sure that's not him or her? I don't mean to dead name or misgender. Okay, keep playing it.
Working appropriately with the regulators to manage the situation.
Yeah, you heard that correctly. The guy from CNBC who hates regulation is now calling for more regulation. And the CEO of the head of one of the largest trading exchanges in the world is agreeing with him. Notice, when hedge funds manipulate markets, when they screw over regular people in different companies, when Wall Street requires billions of dollars in bailouts and floats from the Federal Reserve, there isn't any call for more regulation. But a couple of average Joes on the internet make money at the expense of a billionaire hedge fund. Well, that just can't stand. And I'm not exaggerating here, just showing you one clip. The idea across the American elite right now is that what has happened with GameStop is unacceptable. Don't believe me? Check this out. As GameStop and other stocks soared, Arthur Levitt Jr., he decided to weigh in. And if you don't know who that is, it's the former SEC chairman who literally presided over the dot-com bubble and was appointed by Bill Clinton, who perhaps more than any president is responsible for much of the financialization of our economy beginning in his administration. Levitt wrote an op-ed in Bloomberg calling for a full agent.
Yeah, dude. Tucker Carlson. I literally just said Tucker Carlson because he's such a fucking Tucker Carlson LARPer, dude. It is crazy. Yeah. Famously anti-financialization of the American economy. Presidents include, of course, Ronald Reagan and George W. Bush. You know, those are the famous anti-financialization of the American economy presidents. Like, he's right on Bill Clinton. And the thing that frustrates me to no end is look, here's what I don't do, okay? I will shit on Bill Clinton all the fucking time, all goddamn day, because he is genuinely at fault. His administration is genuinely at fault for a lot of the problems that you've seen here. But what frustrates me to no fucking end is when you avoid the other side of the equation. When you don't fucking purposefully talk about the Republicans or even the Republicans under the Clinton administration that purposely advocated for that. Like, it's not like when Bill Clinton was doing this shit, like Republicans were like, "Oh, dude, I'm so mad. I can't believe that I just simply cannot believe that you know that I don't even fucking know anymore, dude. My brain has stopped functioning. I'm so mad. I have to go pee. I'll be back. Just
investigation into online stock trading platforms, and said that social media is taking advantage of users' behavioral psychology and pushing them into dangerous territory. Okay, maybe. I don't even really disagree with that. But doesn't it just tell you everything? That this is what they want to investigate now? That this is what they want the government to do something about now? Don't underestimate how mainstream this view is. Yesterday, the White House press secretary said Janet Yellen is, quote, monitoring the situation. Elizabeth Warren tweeted out that we needed more regulation. The state securities regulator for the state of Massachusetts said GameStop trading should be halted for 30 days. And the SEC now says they're working with regulators to assess the situation, review the activities, and other participants. Like I said, hey, maybe that's justified, but you people are silent on the crimes of the actually influential people who rig our economy on a daily basis. You want a near-perfect corollary? Billionaire investor Bill Ackman. He went on CNBC in March 2020 to give an emotional interview to say hell is coming and that hotel stocks would go to zero. His interview sparked a panic sell on Wall Street. It is seen in retrospect as one of the precipitating events of that drop. Guess what? At the exact same time, right after that interview, Ackman was buying billions of dollars in the stock as it hit rock bottom.
Jesus.
In fact, he pocketed $2 billion in bets against the market as it was crashing.
Okay, let's pause.
It was a crash.
Billionaire's gonna billionaire, man.
Catch new episodes of the
Everyone else getting Tucker vibes from this guy? It is. He is trying. He's like, he loves Tucker Carlson. He's trying to be like Tucker Carlson. I think he also worked for Tucker Carlson. He also tries to sound like Tucker Carlson, yes. I want to look at something here. And I don't know if there are, I don't know if I can find this immediately, but I want to see like I want to see the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act and how it was seen at the time by Republicans in Congress. Okay? The Financial Services Modernization Act of 1999. This is what Sagar is referencing when he says like Bill Clinton is responsible for deregulating the markets, right? Dude. Anyway. At the time, while Bill Clinton signed this into law, the banking industry has been looking to fucking repeal it for the longest time. But at the time when it was signed into law, just because it was signed into law by a Democratic administration, does not change the reality that it was advocated for by Republicans. The co-sponsors of the act, Senator Phil Gramm, Republican from Texas, Representative Jim Leach from Iowa, Republican, Representative Thomas J. Bliley Jr., Republican from Virginia, are the co-sponsor of the Graham-Leach-Bliley Act. Like, this is still actively agitated by those who have the interests of the banking industry and not the interests of the little guy at heart. And the frustrating part about this, in the way that this sort of thing gets represented by Republican sharks who are still, while they remain populist, basically, while they act like they are populist, and you know, look at how bad Bill Clinton was, they completely avoid criticizing the Republicans that are also responsible. As a matter of fact, probably have even more to do with deregulation.